Okay, so yeah, this is a re-upload of my Fire Punch video that was blocked worldwide a while ago. So if you've seen this before, yeah, some things are no longer here, mostly those manga video transitions I had. So those are pretty much gone, unfortunately, because YouTube doesn't like fun. But hey, whatever, enjoy the video if you can. Thank you. Chainsaw Man, the series that has been the talk of the town for most of last year. Couldn't go anywhere discussing manga without hearing something about Chainsaw Man. And of course, one of my friends recommended that I read it, along with also reading Fire Punch. I said, sure, why not? And I did see a little bit of Chainsaw Man prior, and I didn't realize that both series are done by the same person, Tatsuki Fujimoto. That explains it, I guess. So now I could read the first series that Mr. Fujimoto has finished, that being the flamin' insane story of Fire Punch. I didn't have much knowledge of Fire Punch before I picked up the first volume. All I knew was, dude on fire. That's it. And I guess the other thing was that this series is pretty twisted with what happens in it. I thought I could handle it. Oh, a kid cuts off his limbs to feed people. Pfft, whatever. And then I got to page 15 and didn't know what to do with my life. Like, damn! By the time I finished the first chapter, I was hooked and read the rest of the series when I could. And it pretty much went along like this. Read Fire Punch. Life good. Fire Punch fight back. Finish Fire Punch. Fire Punch done. Think about Fire Punch. Regret. So yeah, after reading it, I can certainly say it's one hell of a roller coaster series, but one that doesn't cause me to throw up by the end. I think. I enjoyed the ride throughout most of it. The amount of twists, turns, and loops is just unmatched. And I think that's the strongest point of this series. I am purely convinced that it is statistically impossible to predict what happens next in Fire Punch, and more specifically, what Fujimoto does next. It's very hard. Like, for example, and this is a spoiler of course, so skip ahead if you need to, there's not a snowball's chance in hell that you could predict or guess that this tic-tac-sized brain child named Sun would become an antagonist of the story. And it's not even one of those things where it's foreshadowed or hinted at. No, he just eventually ends up becoming an enemy to Agni. Like, you would not see that coming. There are so many things and actions that characters do that most of the time you will not be prepared for. Characters and topics that are brought into the story may or may not have a perfect conclusion or any sort of ending to them. As in, they can die a lot sooner than you expect, and there's just some things that are just not really answered. I'll be honest and say that the world isn't really anything all that special since, you know, everything is covered in snow, but it looks pretty at least. And that's another great aspect that is really cool from this series that I don't really see to this level, is the presentation of chapters from time to time. And this is what I mean, and I know this might sound like a weird analogy, but Fire Punch has this strong Samurai Jack vibe to it. As in, there will be long moments or entire chapters where there's barely any kind of dialogue, or all the action that's happening purely speaks for itself. Combine that with a great art style, those moments and chapters can range from really cool, very bleak and sometimes funny. Some of my favorite moments like this is when Agni is fighting all the high-level prisoners, sets everything on fire by mistake, and is eventually seen as a god of some sort. Those were amazing and cool chapters. Or when Togeda is constantly being killed in some way, but she just finds it to be a minor inconvenience of all things. And then all of chapter 46. For those who remember, holy shit, those were the two things that always pushed Fire Punch for me. This complete ride of you never know where you're going next compared to a lot of series. And that was honestly kind of fun. Though like most people, they've read Chainsaw Man first, most likely, and heard that Fire Punch was done by Fujimoto as well, coming to expect the same level of absurdity. Well, I've seen and heard what the general public thinks about the predecessor. They think it's amazing, bad, or just a mixed bag overall. I'll be honest and say the few problems I did have with it here and there, because if I didn't, then it would just make it seem like everything was perfect from the start to finish, and well, not really. I can say it was great, awesome even, but not perfect, of course. For starters, sometimes things are just added in there for shock value, or as some like to call it, the edgy factor. For example, when random one-offs will say ridiculous, dumb shit like this, and it means completely nothing to the story, and I mean nothing. Or when enemy soldiers will just keep dropping the R word because, get it? It's wrong and edgy, so it's dark, therefore it's cool? No, it doesn't. It comes off a little annoying and unnecessary. It's kind of the same when in Shadow the Hedgehog, characters are just swearing a little bit here and there. It's like, we could have done without this.
Damn, we've been detected. Where's that damn fourth Chaos Emerald?
Second thing, and this stems from a nitpick point of view, that's the ending. Not gonna lie, was kind of disappointed. As I was reading it and told people about it, everyone around me was like, oh, you're reading Fire Punch? The ending will fuck you up. Your life will be flipped upside down worse than the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I might be a little bit hyperbolic, but the feeling I had when approaching the ending with that in mind, I thought some incredible, absolutely mind-blowing event would happen in the final chapters. But no, nothing happens. Literally nothing. It's just Judah floating throughout the cosmos till the end of time and space, and then quote-unquote sun shows up and that's it. I know it's supposed to build a feeling of sadness, but I didn't feel anything, honestly. Now, the ending wasn't 100% awful that it ruined the whole story for me. One of my friends did his own review on Fire Punch, and he talked about the ending a fair bit, and it definitely gave me a better understanding and perspective for the ending. So good on him for being able to do that in such a short amount of time. So if you want more insight about that, go watch that video and support him. You'll make the world a better place, I promise you. And last thing, I guess, was that of a good number of characters in the story and how they're handled. If I'm being completely honest, the characters don't really make me feel too much. As in, I don't relate to them that much. I don't sympathize with them fully. I sometimes don't even understand them. I sometimes don't even really root for them at all. Not that I hate them, but I'm not 100% invested, and that might be from the fact that characters could die halfway through the story or unexpectedly, and that's that. I was just kind of going with whatever happened and what the plot threw at me. And that's one complaint I do hear when it comes to Fire Punch, is that there's no real villain or pure true antagonist of the story. Well, I can say otherwise to that, because the one character that did carry the whole story is the main character, Agni. It's rather strange how the story and characters like to use movies and acting as motivation. Agni says he can't act, but give this man an Academy Award, because he not only plays the hero, but he also plays the villain. I greatly found Agni's journey and character growth throughout the story to be compelling. The story starts off with him wanting to get revenge on Doma, so he has a violent goal, but he's very careful with what he does. He distances himself from others because he knows what the flames can do, and when he killed an extreme amount of people with his fire by accident, he's completely ashamed and guilty of himself for what he did. That's just within the first few volumes. However, towards the end, he's now protecting his, sister by killing as many people as possible with no regret. The goal is sincere, but the method is twice as gruesome and violent than before because he's completely aware of what he's doing and he doesn't care what happens. He himself even realized after a certain point that he is his own worst enemy. It kind of reminds me of Gon from Hunter x Hunter. Hunter times Hunter? Hunter's ship? You get it. Gon asked Crollo how could he just kill people who have nothing to do with him. So Gon thinks that's wrong. But by the climax of the Chimera Ant arc, Gon slowly became so twisted that he threatened to kill a blind disabled girl who has nothing to do with him just because they had the smallest connection to a person he wanted to destroy out of revenge. And he didn't care what the outcome was. Like, Jesus Christ, Gon. Agni's similarity goes from wanting revenge and nothing else to wanting to protect someone who may or may not even be related to him. He wanted to fight for nothing, but then fought for something, or someone in this case, which more or less fits the slight theme of nihilism and religion, which is what the story was trying to tell to some degree, with the pros and cons of believing and having faith to not caring about anything, but still finding some reason to live. And that's how Fire Punch does it. It's truly this insane roller coaster that just goes super fast and all over the place, for better or for worse. It's a wild ride, but as a roller coaster, there are definitely going to be some ups and some downs, and it's your own decision, of course, to say whether or not you liked it. I did, though if you really want a story about revenge, an absurd premise, crazy combat, and a stable main character that can't be replaced, then Dog Ningen is the story for you. That's right, Dog Nigga is just the better version of Fire Punch, and it's so much cooler and everything. I will gladly review this if I get the chance. Like, I'm being dead serious down here too. If anyone down in the comments below will say like, yes, review Dog Ningen, I will go to Amazon and buy like the first volume and review like the other 3 to 5 chapters that come afterwards. It would be so worth it. It is just peak manga that there ever could be. Love it. So, yeah, with all of that aside, let me know what you guys think in the comments below about Fire Punch, and don't worry, I'll, eventually get to Chainsaw Man when all the volumes are done, because that also just ended not too long ago, but Part 2 is apparently coming out whenever, or if it's out now by the time you're watching this, then that's neat, I guess. Tell me how it is. So, yeah, comments below, you know what to do with all the links that I provide and everything of the sort. Thank you for watching. That's greatly appreciated, of course. Have a great day, have a great night, and everything else, you know what to do. Bye.